Okay. Now I think, let me just check in the chat. I am pretty sure I'm live and you guys can hear me, but if you could just let me know there in the chat if you're able to hear me, then we'll go ahead and get started. Oh, hang on. Here we go. Okay. Hello. Oh, thank you, Trisha. Great to see you. Thank you so much. Hey, Kylie. Great to have you here. Thank you both so much for being here. I love it. Okay. Hey, Jesse. I'm so happy to see you here. Hope you all are having a great weekend. I am super excited to have this conversation with you. It's a conversation I've been wanting to have for a while when it comes to what it is that I do here on this channel. So many of you are familiar with me and what I do from different walks of life. Some of you come for the twin flame work. Some of you come, hey, Eleonora, great to see you. Some of you come from the astrological work. But I think anyone who resonates here and subscribes here is here because the empowerment work is at the heart of it. How do you live a life that is fulfilling for you, that is not only divinely guided, but deeply aligned? And how do you make choices that honor who you are without feeling puppeteered, manipulated, and kind of under the thumb of forces outside of you? So, we are going to go ahead and get started. I love that you guys are here. If you are listening to the recording and catching this later, feel free to drop me a comment. I'm going to ask some questions throughout. Let me know in the comment section what your thoughts are or what your experiences are with what it is that I share. Hey, Heather Martin, so happy to see you. We are going to go ahead and dive in. Let's make sure my slides are going to move. There we go. So here's what I'm going to talk about. I have a client named Rosa, who, if you're on my email list, I shared a bit of her story earlier this week. You would have seen it in your inbox. And I'm going to take a deep dive and kind of pick some of that apart because Rosa is really all of us in so many ways. And I want you to be able to, because she is like really in the midst of a breakthrough when it comes to where her connection is going and what she's experiencing, I wanted to share how she got there with you all, especially those of you who have felt stuck, delayed, blocked, denied when it comes to your connections. I'm also going to talk about how readings can help, how they hinder, and how they can actually completely derail your connection in love. But more than just this, what we're talking about today in love is going to be impactful concerning work, money, coworkers, starting a business, family, etc. So listen carefully for not just what's going on in life and or not just what's going on in love, but also what's going on in life. We'll also talk about, I'm going to give you a way to discern what goes on for you as you receive messages from readers and how to work with reading so that you are only on the help side and not on the hinder and derail side. I have a special guest with me today who's going to share a little bit of information after the discernment component, and then we'll close out with Q&A. So if you happen to have any questions either about what it is I'm sharing or questions about anything else, then feel free to drop them in the chat. I'll be taking Q&A at the end. Okay, let us get into it. I have a client named Rosa, and she has her counterpart named Sam. Names change to protect the growing here, but her story is indeed shared with permission. Rosa came to me, I want to say it was roughly post-COVID, so maybe 2020, 2021, right around that time. She had found me on YouTube. She was listening to some of the channeled messages that I've put out over the years, and they just really resonated for her, especially as she felt like the connection that her and Sam had could be labeled twin flame. She was really, really into astrology. So outside of the twin flame messages that I shared, she would go around to other channels and listen for her sign, Sam's sign, their sun, moon, and rising signs, just to understand, like, and get the full picture. Like, what is this? What is happening? Why is it happening? What's going to happen next? It was safe to say that the experience that Rosa had with Sam really knocked her off her feet. There were definitely a lot of tower moments as she came into recognizing how much she loved him and how that placed a demand in her space to transform her life. And some of you can really relate to that. You may have met your counterpart or soulmate or divine connection, call it what you want, and all of a sudden your life imploded. So it's like some of you have mentioned things like losing a job or mentioned things like having your child getting sick or your pet dying or, family members suddenly having a big rupture and a change in the interpersonal dynamics, needing to relocate across the world, these sorts of things. In Rose's case, the issues that showed up had a lot to do with some of her family dynamics and family wounding. The more she interacted with Sam, the more she was reminded of her mother's constant quest for love. Her mother had, brought different men into her life when she was 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. And each of those men had completely different personalities and needs, and she watched her mother shapeshift as each man came in. So with Rudy, mom was really calm and she wanted everything peaceful in the house, and there were candles everywhere. With Joseph, mom ended up wanting to be outdoorsy, and so they went camping and they went to the lake and they went fishing all the time. And then with David, whom her mother was with the longest, David had a bit of one of those like dark and stormy tempers, unfortunately. And so Rosa watched her mom become more submissive than she had ever been. And painfully, in as things escalated in the end, David was just never really a satisfied type of guy. He was really discontent in his own life and with his own family, Rosa's soon-to-be step siblings. And he was also kind of abusive verbally with everyone, especially when he was drinking. And it was in this moment, as Rosa came into puberty and really was witnessing this, that Rosa had made some decisions for herself. Number one, I'm not getting in any sort of serious relationship with a child. I'm going to actually get married and then have children. Number two, if a man doesn't treat me like this and like this and like this, and she had like a set of ground rules for herself to keep herself safe, then he can't be in my life at all. And number three, there were times when Rosa would watch her mom like light her candles at her altar and, pray for intervention, pray for David to change these sorts of things, and then ask Rosa to pray with her. Rosa said, "What God won't do, I will." And so Rosa had a very can-do, independent orientation to her dating life before she met Sam. When she met Sam, because of some of the decisions she made, there were men that she met that were good, but they didn't match all of her quote criteria for what she wanted from a partner. And so Rosa was very quick to discard men by her own admission. She just didn't want to end up the way her mother had. And by the time she was in her early 40s, Rosa was lonely. She was ready to settle down and she couldn't figure out why love hadn't come for her. And so she meets Sam, and Sam is a needle across the record. Sam is nothing like what's on her list of check boxes. He's got a job, but he's not the, take care of and provide for her type. I mean, they go out and he pays, but it was less about him paying. Like all of a sudden, she became uninterested in that when she met Sam. She wanted somebody who had something more traditional as a job. She wanted somebody that she could, take home to her family and feel really proud of, standing by his side, because he had the kind of job that people would understand. Well, Sam worked for Cirque du Soleil. And so Sam was on the road quite a bit. And as a result, they didn't get to see each other as often as Rosa liked. Sam was in touch, but when Sam was on the road, Sam was literally on the road. Like there wasn't a lot of time to be, talking. Like he would go to different cities and he didn't perform, he was in crew. And so he would go and he would set up stuff and then go to the next city and check on stuff, this sort of thing. He got paid just fine, but the issue was that it was like, I have to tell people he works for Cirque du Soleil. For some reason, that embarrassed Rosa. All of that to say, Sam also was more of a creative type. Like what he liked to do when he met her was do things like send her songs or send her music. Sam liked to draw and paint as well. So when he had spare time, he would draw Rosa and send her pictures of herself, or, things that he had painted. All of that to say, Rosa was looking for something different. And when Sam came in and she fell hard, it knocked her back. She was shocked. She was like, "You're not my type, but I can't shake you. Like you are under my skin." And so Rosa finally let herself give into it, which was beautiful. It was beautiful to watch. And it was a gift for her because she started to heal, and realized that so many of the things on her checklist were reactions to her childhood pain and suffering to prevent her from ever having to experience that type of suffering again. Now, with that being said, though, as she came into growing with Sam, learning who he is, loving him, Sam also, though, began to have some behaviors that Rosa was concerned about. He would go on the road, and at times where he said he should be free and available to talk to her, like he would go missing. He wouldn't call or call her back. At times when, he was in her city, he would make it a point to see everyone else but her and say he ran out of time. This sort of thing. Sam had the people pleasing gene, as Rosa discovered in some of her readings. And this was something that helped her to be patient and compassionate as he liked being a responsible guy and being responsive to the people in his world. But at the same time, Rosa constantly felt like she was at the bottom of the list. Are any of you guys relating to Rosa and Sam's story? Let me know in the chat because their story goes even deeper. So, as Rosa began to express some of her concerns around just not like, do you want to be in this? Are you drifting away? Like, you're not making time for us for this. It's making me feel really unwanted. As she expressed these things, Sam didn't have much to say for himself. In fact, the more she expressed her sadness or upset or desire for more, the more Sam pulled away. The more Sam pulled away, the more readings Rosa watched on YouTube. And when things got too confusing or things on YouTube resonated too much, she would then reach out to the readers and say, hey, can I book a personal reading? I would really love to understand what's going on here. And so Rosa and I did astrology together. Once in a while, I'd pull some cards for her. Rosa also read with at least six other readers over the course of these years. And she ended up getting some information about herself that was helpful. Some of the readers gave her a lot of feedback about how she was showing up and what she would need to adjust if she wanted to get a different response in her relationship. She knew well enough to ask, like, how do I change the dynamic rather than just letting people predict and tell her? She knew well enough that she could control her destiny, that she could direct her outcomes, which is good. I'm so proud of her for that. And it's also something we worked on together. But then she would run into readers here and there who would say, you can't change it. It's not possible to change it. Not only is it not possible to change it, but, once the good feelings are gone, they can't come back, or say things like, he's seeing somebody else. That's why he's not calling you. If he wanted to, he would. And so these sorts of things would start to dig under Rosa's skin, and Rosa would then be upset for weeks or months at a time. She would normally reach out to Sam. She would be so upset about what these readers would have said to her. She started to shut down, lose hope and faith, and back away from the connection that made her feel so alive and so in love. So, this then led to her stalking Sam's socials, and she was always creeping on him to figure out if anything that these readers said about other women was actually true. And eventually we had to have a heart to heart in one of our readings because she said, I don't know, something just doesn't feel right. Can you look at Sam's chart and tell me, like, would he have met somebody at this particular time? And I said to her, I said, Rosa, where is this coming from? And she explained that two or three of her readers had all brought up the same thing because that was when he pulled away. Now, the astrology did not bear that out. In fact, what the astrology spoke about were some health issues that may have gone on that he may not necessarily want to disclose because it might have been embarrassing for him. But because Rosa had been so emotionally distraught, that heightened emotion created physical investment in the third dimensional reality, proving itself to her. She needed to find out for sure. This actually created a lot of tension between her and Sam because when Sam did reach out, she would tell me the things that she would say and how the conversation would go. She didn't even realize she was guarded. She was defensive. She was shut down. She was looking for the worst. Rosa was actually looking for the readers to be right instead of directly connecting with Sam. And ultimately, her connection slash situationship with Sam became a connection by proxy, as these readers served as surrogate for the intimacy she so deeply wanted with Sam, but couldn't figure out how to achieve. So, this led to more and more readings, which I'm sure you can imagine. Some of you can even relate. If you can, put it in the chat or drop it in the comments post video. But things started to change for Rosa when she decided to just take a break from letting people read for her. One of the first things she did when I said the health issue thing is she actually went back to Sam and she said, what is going on? I had a dream that you had a health scare. Tell me everything. She made it like it was her intuition. And sure enough, Sam did actually end up needing to go to urgent care for something that he didn't really want to have to tell Rosa because he didn't want her to worry. But simultaneously, uh, all of the story that Rosa was living in still had her in this place where she felt desperate, clingy, needy, and rejected. There was so much longing and so much love at the same time. So eventually, she said, "You were the one who was right. There's a health issue here. I need to study astrology. I need to be able to do this for myself." So she signed up for some astrology classes with me. She did Star School 101 and 201. And ultimately, what Rosa learned in there was how to start to discern energy and read energy for herself. And she's in such a better place now because she's also taken a couple of tarot classes and she's now really picking up on things for herself in a way that she no longer feels so frustrated by what's going on or lack thereof while Sam's on the road. So, all of that to say, there are some things about Rosa's story that I really want you to pick up on and notice. And the reason I'm telling you all this right now is because those of you who've been on this channel with me for a while, many of you are twin flames or identify as divine counterparts or part of the soulmate collective, the ascending soulmate collective. The place we are right now is in between the last union window and the next one, which will be very late 2028. And this halfway point and the things we do at this halfway point are going to make a huge difference. In union windows, we have this cosmic support for the divine counterparts coming together when Jupiter and Juno come into conjunction. And so those of you who identify in this way will feel these significant, strong, potent pulls toward the person you've identified as your counterpart. The last one was 2023. The next one will be 2028, the end of 2028. The last one was beginning of 2023. And you may notice rupture or rapture in these moments in time where the intensity is so strong, things either lock in or fall apart. That being said, and we'll talk more about union windows a separate time. This halfway point of 2025 is one where the choices you make when it comes to who you are and knowing yourself and really investing in yourself and having your own knowledge and awareness about your connection will become a platform for this union window when it opens in a year early in 2027, and we're almost there. So I wanted to talk to you a little bit about some of the pieces of Rosa's story. So she's like, if I could save anyone time, okay, tell them my story because I wasted so much time. The minute I started to tune in for myself is the minute things got easier with me and Sam. Um, and she wrote me a little something to share with you guys, which I'm going to share with you now. She said, um, I spent thousands of dollars with other readers, including with you. Um, and I know that that's kind of what they're there for, is to help me. But at the end of the day, I ended up trusting them more than I trusted myself. And since I've started reading more for myself, I am more relaxed than I've ever been, less anxious, just like you told me I would be. Once I started developing my intuition, my anxiety would go away. Sam and I are talking way more. It's more consistent, it's more regular. I had no idea that doing all those readings was what delayed things between me and him. But seriously, I can't thank you enough for encouraging me to start reading for myself and trusting myself. It's because I'm no longer in doubt mode or wait mode that Sam and I are in a completely different place. So here's some of the things I really want you to pick up. I'm sure you can relate to the deep love, the longing and the curiosity, the push-pull dynamic, the signs and the messages, the number sequences, the license plates, the white feathers, the, signs in the window, the random things that come out of people's mouth that give you confirmation, being so sure about something and so confused at the same time. Readings did help Rosa. That part she was clear about. If you have any questions, let me know in the chat because we're going to get to questions here in a moment. Here's the thing. They did validate her because they helped her to see, like, she wasn't crazy. She was intuitive. She was picking up on certain vibes from Sam, and not just from Sam, but about who Sam is in her life. She was reading into her own intuition correctly, but when the validation came in from a reader, it helped her to lean into her own faith with even more strength. They can also confirm our gut instincts, seeking suspicions, our dreams, and our liminal state hits. You know, when you're washing dishes, driving in the car, standing in the shower, in between sleep and awake, sometimes you get those messages. So, a lot of those messages that she would get, her place was dishes, shower, anything having to do with water. She would then get those hits, and then Sam would then confirm them later. And if Sam didn't, one of her readers did, and that again helped her relax. Readings can also illuminate our blind spots, especially if the readers focus on spiritual growth and some of the emotional reasons behind what you see in the 3D. So often, she had a core set of readers, I was among them, who would say, Rosa, we need to look at your part in this. And being able to share with her lovingly her blind spots helped her to mature and grow in ways that also allowed Sam to soften with her. Okay. Readings can help us become more self-aware. They can also help us have compassion for others who might be growing through something that's difficult for them to talk about, and offer that patience and be that light that they need to open up, to feel safe, and to take the next step in their world. Readings can also drive our personal growth. So here's the trick to that, though. For personal growth to happen, questions above and beyond what are they thinking, how are they feeling, and when are they coming back need to be asked. And so when a reader knows the right questions to ask and has the right lens for tarot or astrology, which in my humbly strong opinion is a lens of empowerment, the reading can actually give you information that helps your nervous system relax and open you up to new possibilities. You could see the situation from a perspective that you may not have seen it before. And in seeing a new perspective, you then begin to see new options. Oh, maybe I don't need to wait for him to call me. Maybe I can send a funny meme and conversation just keeps going. Maybe I don't necessarily need for him to introduce me to his family right now. Maybe what he needs is an experience of having stable, solid family. He should come do the next holiday with my family. These sorts of things. And then that helps them relax and say, okay, families can be a safe place to be. You get the idea. But there are limitations that all of us as readers, we are aware of. We just don't always say them out loud. We assume that it's implied, but I'm starting to recognize it's just not. It's not implied. But I want to expose these things for you so that as you are choosing who reads for you in the future and or how to listen to what you're hearing, you're able to pick up where your reading ends and their projection begins. So let's get into it. Readings delayed some of Rosa's progress with Sam because there were times when readings contradicted her own intuition. Her intuition would be to reach out again, or her intuition would be to, invite Sam to stay with her when he was in town. But the readings would say something that contradicted that. No, he's the divine masculine. He should make the first move. He's the man. He should reach out. He's supposed to lead it. Readings would contradict her own intuition, and come to find out Sam was mirroring her, waiting for her to reach out, her to initiate, wanting to know that he was wanted. A reading cannot tell you everything that your own intuition would. More than me or any other reader, you're going to know about your situation consciously and subconsciously. I believe it's Thais Gibson from the Personal Development School who says the subconscious mind picks up, I think it's like 8 billion bits of information per second, something like that. Do not quote me because I need to actually research that statistic. But we are processing so much information at one time that when it comes back out as truth, aka intuition, sometimes it can feel like I don't even know where that came from, but it lands as reality, as truth. You're going to be able to know your truth because it's locked in there in your own subconscious, in your own connection to the divine, more than any person who's a stranger can, who sits with you for an hour or 30 minutes. Okay. This is why sometimes some readings don't resonate when they are really close to your situation, but you and only you will know your situation. And the trick with this is to get fear out of the way so that you can hear your own intuition. When readers would tell Rosa, no, he's supposed to do it all, and she would then ignore her intuition, what that did is it actually preyed upon, fed upon, and validated Rose's old fear that men couldn't be trusted, reliable. It fed her old fear that, and pressed upon that wound. You remember her mom had the boyfriend that was just doing too much. He was verbally abusive. And so she learned how to hide herself and wait. It re-triggered that old pattern to keep quiet so that she didn't cause trouble, right? So sometimes, listening to your own intuition before checking with anyone else will go a long way in keeping you on your path and keeping momentum. Readings also can't tell you what you should or shouldn't do. Aso Tarot and I have talked about this quite a bit. If you don't know her channel, you should definitely check it out. It'll be linked below this video. One moment, I gotta cough again. Sometimes it can be hard to know what to do for the best in your life, especially when we feel torn between bad choice A and worst choice B. It can feel like our back is against the wall and we don't have any really good solutions. But outsourcing the answer to what you should and shouldn't do actually creates a lot more chaos than it resolves. We can't protect you as readers from regret, and we can't live your life, your divine path for you. What we can do is tell you what's behind door number one and door number two, should you walk through them. What's the energy ripe for? What's aligned? What we can do is say, oh, okay, your destination is door X. Okay, got it. Based on what I'm seeing, if you go through door B, this is what you'll encounter. But if you go through door A to get there, this is what you'll encounter. By doing it that way, we leave the power in your hands. And you get to decide which obstacle course you'd like to take to your outcome. But guaranteeing outcomes is always a dicey deal. And you will often hear readers say, free will can derail things. And that's because it can. The reality is, the energy might be there for something, but if you decide not to participate, forget it. It won't happen. So, with that being said, I, one of the things I've really loved in coming into a more personal relationship with the divine, with God in these last several years is recognizing that God loves me so much that he's not actually going to override my choices. He's just going to support me through them. He's not going to stop me from hitting a wall, but he will absolutely pick me up and help me grow heal my wounds, and get me going again. So, in that regard, having that sort of loving relationship with Source that believes in me so much and loves me so much, I've come to ask some very different questions in my own readings for myself. And I encourage you to do the same so that you're not outsourcing your own intuition and abdicating your own power, which is what causes delays. And lastly, timing and participation in a prediction is a matter of free will, like I said. Okay. But here's where things can get really hairy. Okay. Readings can sometimes not just delay, they can block. And thankfully, in Rosa's case, she didn't have that experience. Um, the reality is, it doesn't matter how much you trust me or ASO or anyone else as a reader, we all have filters. The truth is, we have points of view shaped by our life experiences, the ways we were raised, the opinions we formed, the wounds we triumphed over, and the heartbreaks that still linger. That lens, as much as we want to come to you from a place of complete neutrality, is never fully a blank slate. We can't unlive the life that formed our belief systems and perspective. We can't pretend like we didn't go through things that shaped us and brought us to the moment where we met you. And so everything we see as readers and don't see, say and don't say, are made aware of and not made aware of, um, they're coming through our filters, understanding, and cognition, our consciousness, before they ever hit your ears. So if you want an unmediated, unfiltered piece of information about your path, the purest whisper of source for you is going to come from you. And that right there is tea. Getting a reading also can blind you to your choices instead of opening up to choice. So self-fulfilling prophecies are a real thing. And if Rosa were here, she'd say, "Oh, but I know it," because there would be so many times that Rosa would think the worst thing possible about Sam, only for the worst thing to happen. Oh, I know he's not going to call. He doesn't call. Oh, I know he's going to come in town and then he's going to let me down. He came in town and he got too busy to see her. I know it's going to be 6 months and we're barely going to speak. 5.5 months went by and they barely spoke. Self-fulfilling prophecies can show up when a read shares something negative about your person or situation and sets you up with expectations that become reality through fear and concentrated focus. Have you ever had the words of a reader linger in your mind and you're ruminating on them and repeating them over and over again, and you're emotionally activated? So now your mind and your emotions are tapped into this. Our reality is shaped by mind and emotions, intensity and focus, emotions and mental program. If your mind and emotion is focused on the worst because you've outsourced your intuition and abdicated your power, you can actually get completely off a trail that was coming together only to fall into separation that didn't have to be there. And this can also cause us to cut off from developing connections, run from wounded people who are trying to heal, or shut down a connection in transition instead of allowing it to evolve and participating in that evolution. Here's the truth. You may get a reading from someone that contradicts your intuition, but the reality is no reading is ever set in stone. You change and grow. Seasons change, mountains move, coastlines shift. There is absolutely nothing in our universe that is absolutely static. So if all of those seemingly permanent things are truthfully impermanent, The reality is, so too is any prediction. Okay. And lastly, for those of you that are really struggling in this place, I want to make this as plain as I can and share this truth as compassionately as I can, but it's a hard truth nonetheless. Getting a reading introduces the vibrational program and pattern of a third party into your connection. And this may really be the hardest truth to face, especially if you've been plagued by patterns of infidelity, cheating, love triangles, and more. At some point, you will need to stop the pattern and stop it within you so that you can cease the pattern outside of you. As much as we want to help you as readers, we want to help you understand what's happening. We want to empower you. We want to give you clarity so you feel good to take your next steps. The reality is, a triangle is a triangle. And if you open a triangle on your side as part of your programming, as above, so below, it can also open on the other side. If you don't want triangles, it becomes necessary to develop our own intuitive abilities and trust those more than we trust any other voice in our lives. Now, if you can resonate with any of this, go ahead and put a 1 in the chat. Hit that like button if you're new, subscribe. But I wanted to make sure that I shared this with you because you may have some resonance with Rosa's story. Um, when we start to lean too heavily on others for our intuitive reality and to connect us to the divine, like Rosa, it blocked her faith in her connection and her trust in Sam. The more she read with readers, the more suspicious she became of Sam. It also stopped the flow of steady communication because there would be times when organically Rosa would have reached out to Sam, but instead she reached out to a reader because she was, quote, waiting for him to take the lead. This can also block spiritual connection. So if you know you have a deep spiritual bond with somebody, placing others' words and perspectives inside that bond in between you and your consciousness and that person and their consciousness can start to create blockage in the spiritual connection. And it's your spiritual connection that's actually the thing that's talking to you and to them and guiding you into what you're meant to be doing each step, which can ultimately block forward movement. Okay. The reality is, like, whether it's been for a period of time like Rosa, or um or like Rosa, it's become a lifestyle. There are so many ways that we outsource our intuition to others, making our lives subject to what they say, looking for what they say to be true, positive or negative. In other words, we end up binding ourselves and binding our connection to other people's predictions, which has all of their filters wrapped up in it. And we do this while at the same time, so many of the divine counterpart community is at the same time working to get free of things like karma and blocks while simultaneously binding themselves to more blocks. It doesn't make any sense. As long as a part of us is looking for someone else to tell us about us and what we can and cannot be in our life and in our connections are bound by their words and not our own intuition and truth about it. That pain that Rosa was in, I know you may have felt it as you circled and circled and circled, trying to figure out what just happened to you after you met your counterpart. Fear and confusion because you've never felt this in love while simultaneously feeling this insecure. Chaos as your life recalibrates and reorients to such an experience of divinity and love opening up for you, realizing that your life doesn't quite fit you anymore, and in some cases blows up around you, as was the case for Rosa. Also, beginning to look in the mirror. So, for the first time, really seeing your wounds, your stories, and your ego for what they are. All just reasons you've told yourself you can't have love and love won't work for you. These fears and processes that can show up after meeting your twin can be unfolding while simultaneously checking your phone to see if they messaged you back or messaged at all. Some of you are doing that right now, cycling between grieving, pissed, and deeply in love as you work through the growth that you didn't ask for and no one else around you seems to get. Having your spiritual gifts come online and navigating life with one foot in the 3D and the other foot in the 5D. If you can relate, I'd love for you to put a one in the chat there. I'm going to answer some questions about this in just a moment, but I'd love to know if what I'm saying is it just me or is this like, does everybody get this? Because if so, if that's the case, then I want to invite you to the class that I'm launching now called Cards and Stars with ASO Tarot. This is why we built it. One of the most empowering things that you can do as you navigate challenging love situations is learn how to tap into your intuition when it's loud, even when it's confusing, even when there's chaos around you, even when your heart is breaking or your stomach is in knots from separation. Having a way to tap in that is quick, easy, and immediate so that you can trust what's going on to keep you on your path, no matter how dysregulated your nervous system gets or challenging the third dimension gets. Let me actually grab a link and put it in the chat for you guys. So if you'd like to sign up, you can do so now. ASO and I are super excited about Cards and Stars, mainly because it is our love letter to our subscribers. With Cards and Stars, we are offering an opportunity for you to step into your own divine knowing and wisdom when it comes to not just your connection in your love life, but also life period, where you should work next. Should you quit this job? Should you start your business now? What would happen if you did? How should you address the family issue that just popped up? What should you say? When should you say it? Should you say nothing? If you want to trust your intuition more, but worry sometimes you're giving into fear or just hearing what you want to hear from readers, this is the class for you. If you've ever looked back on situations and thought, man, if only I had known, I would have made a different choice, we invite you to sign up now. If you're at a fork in the road with school, relocation, or love decisions and need to know what's behind the scenes so that you can make the best decision, this 8-week major arcana and astrology course was built for you. And if there are people in your life that you want to understand better in your family, in your friend circle, your work and romantic life, now's the time to get in. We are going to focus mainly on the major arcana in this course. And the reason why is because the major arcana was designed to be a tapped in voice of the divine, to be able to connect you directly to higher self and source and receive messages that provide illumination, instruction, and clarity about what's happening, why it's happening, and what's the divine purpose behind it. It's especially helpful if you know you're in a heightened state of anxiety or fear, like Rosa was. This is how she started. She just started working with the major arcana before she got to any of the wands, cups, swords, or pentacles because she could understand those. And so we're going to talk about the hidden secrets in the major arcana in the tarot. We are also going to give you some both traditional and modern astrological links to each card. Each of the 22 major arcana cards links to a sign or a planet. Some of them are more traditional than others. We have modern and updated correlations for you that will really help you understand when you see certain major arcana cards show up, specifically what the divine is trying to tell you. And that's the power of astrology plus tarot is you get that deeper insight and awareness. We're also going to talk with you a bit about how to set aside personal bias in a reading. We're going to do this during our office hours every week. We're going to meet on Fridays at 2 to 4 p.m. in order to answer questions. And if that doesn't work for your schedule, 2 to 4 p.m. Eastern, know that there is a place that you can ask questions. They will be collated and we'll be answering those questions. So you'll be able to listen to them 24 hours later on the live and you'll have all weekend to catch up. You'll see the courses laid out 2 to 3 cards per week. We have 2 weeks off. October 27th is an integration week. And then we have November it was 17 and 24th is the Thanksgiving holiday weeks. We won't have classes those 2 weeks. But then we'll wrap up on December 1st with the moon and the sun and judgment and the world. All classes are pre-recorded. Registration closes in 4 days. I can't believe I'm saying the words October 1st, but that's when it closes. 4 days is not a long time. We've made it easy for you to join. It's $222 pay in full, but you can also do a double payment of $144, spread out 2 weeks apart if you need to. Okay. You're going to get 8 pre-recorded classes, 6 live office hour sessions, our private member area, and a 40+ page digital workbook that's rolled out week by week so you can add in your own notes, pull your own cards, follow your own patterns, and cultivate your own intuition. Then we'll also give you some optional weekly play work, aka homework, so that you can dive in deeper. The thing about this for us that was really special is that anytime we talk, and we talk a lot about you guys, about our channel, anytime we talk about you guys, we are just in awe that people subscribe, listen, that they find what we have to say valuable. We're very grateful that this has been our path in our lives so far. We also, more than anything, get really saddened when we see comments in our YouTube section that say things to ASO like, ASO, can you pick a card for me? It's called a pick a card. You pick the card. It's okay. If it doesn't resonate, you can pick a different card, a different pile. And that makes us so sad because we know that that person is walking in an extraordinary level of disempowerment and helplessness in their life when it comes to what happens next, likely taught by people who didn't want to see them in their power. Likewise, for me on my channel, I'm always so saddened when people come into readings with me and say, "Okay, I've got two people. I need you to look at both their charts and tell me who's better. Who should I choose?" I'm like, why would you ever want to make that have my head make your heart-based decision for you? I don't know. I can tell you what they look like and you can decide what you want, but ultimately, it's your life. I want you to feel good about living it. And the thing that I think most people struggle with in those circumstances is, what if I don't like my choice? And the truth is, this universe that God built is so loving and so benevolent that you have the right to change your mind. That being said, to make this even easier for you to say yes to learn with us, because this is our lens when we come to this work, it's total empowerment for you. We want you to be able to do what we do for you. We've added 3 bonuses that total over $300 to make this an easy and no-brainer yes. If you join before Sunday, September 28th, so it's literally tomorrow night at 11:59 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, you'll be enrolled to get a copy of my Manifestation Mastery program. It's a 4-hour workshop and 4+ page guide that gives you the blueprint based on your astrological chart, how you are meant to manifest and sustain love, money, and health. Everyone's manifestation process is different. This is why for some people affirmations work, for other people writing works, for other people keeping it secret works, and still for others telling three people to hold the vision with them works. No two people have the exact same manifestation process, but there are for every single thing. And your manifestation process for love won't necessarily be the best manifestation process for money. It could be, will be very different based on your astrological chart. Inside of Stars and Cards and Stars, you'll get access to this 4-hour workshop for free at the end of the workshop, at the end of Cards and Stars. I want to put this information into your hands so that you can leave even more empowered when it comes to generating the life you want. You're going to get ASO's Deepest Questions Guide. If you've watched her videos, you know that at the start of every video, she has a handwritten love letter that describes precisely what she is going to be asking, both in the reading and in the extended. It's those extended question readings that have generated thousands in revenue for her. We're going to put a collation of all of her best extended reading questions together just for you so that you can ask questions above and beyond. What are they thinking? What are they feeling? And when are they coming back if you're in separation? Or where is it going? We want you to be empowered to know more than just the basics. We want to expand your brain so that you can think more critically about your connections and get information that will support your heart-based decisions. And then lastly, I'm going to give you my 2026 retrograde guide. If you've ever caught yourself with your life falling apart only to find out, oh, it's a retrograde, Venus retrograde, Mercury retrograde, Mars retrograde. This is the thing for you. I will walk you through key dates for the retrogrades in 2026 so you know when they're coming, what they're about, what to expect, and how to use it so it doesn't blow up your life. That 2026 retrograde guide, ASO's Deepest Questions guide, and my Manifestation Mastery workshop are all available to you when you join before Sunday, September 28th at 11:59 p.m. The bonus is total over $300 USD. And doors actually close this coming Wednesday, but bonuses expire in 24 hours. So I strongly suggest if you want the bonuses with the class that you jump in now. The class is 222 USD, but you can also split your payment in two for 144 USD. Okay. The link to join is there in the description box below, but it's also available in the chat if you're listening along live. Okay. So let's hear from a special guest. I have someone here with me that I would love to share with you. Um, Maxine, are you there? Can you come to voice?
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me?
I can. Thank you so much, Maxine. It is great to have you here. Thank you for joining. Um, Maxine is a new member of Cards and Stars. I'm so happy that she has joined. She is a wonderful community member. One of the things I've noticed already about Maxine is that she's gone above and beyond to welcome people into the course. She's almost like the unofficial course welcome crew.
Oh my God, you're too kind.
It's true. I watched, like, I read through all the introductions. I was like, wait a minute, is that Maxine again saying hello and welcome and I can relate?
Chronically online.
I I live for it, Maxine. It's just wonderful to see such kindness and such compassion showing up in our community for people. Um, I think that for you, and not just for you, but for everyone there, this is the sort of community that you can fall right into and be at home. It's such a judgment-free space. I've seen people really already start to pick up on that in the way that they share, but it's also a very playful space. So I'm curious. What has been going on in your life that drew you to cards and stars?
Thank you. Well, I do want to start by saying we were on the topic of romance, and I don't want to throw in the wrench and be like, hey, it's maybe I may not be for the romance party, but I have had the experiences that Rosa was having. And in fact, a lot of the things that Rosa was doing was what I was doing, but my partner wasn't a romantic partner. My partner was with life. And so for me, the last 3 years, life has been playing Russian roulette with which family members would be hospitalized next. So that meant I was the caretaker the last 3 years. I haven't been able to stay in a single country for an average of 3 months because of it. Um, and this combination of, family, technological climate, political climate, economic climate meant I have not been able to start my career. And for reference, I'm in my mid to late 20s. So I also graduated from grad school at the top of my cohort. So for me to feel very accomplished in what I've learned and not be able to use it out in the real world, it really threw me into the gutter. So a lot of giving up my power, giving up my intuition was going to readers saying like, hey, how did my interview go? Am I going to hear back? Because if you're looking for a job right now, we don't even get, if we're lucky, we get the rejection emails. If we're not lucky, we're just ghosted. Um, and and literally saying hundreds of resume rewrites, hundreds of job applications, hundreds of, I've also been to coaching. I have done everything possible you can think of in the job market right now. It really takes a hit in your self-confidence. It takes a hit in every facets of life, all the while caretaking. So personally for me, I have felt that this part in my life is slowly beginning to end. And also because I realized I was getting in that toxic relationship, toxic, if you will, um, with these readings, I decided to step back away from readings and cards themselves. Um, but also understanding that if I could equip myself with the knowledge of not the guidance of one, but two mediumships, because this is with astrology and cards, um, it would bring great comfort because as Kay mentioned earlier, you give your intuition, and that's also one of the greatest gifts you have to yourself, to others when you seek a reading. But if you're also able to give them to yourself, that's powerful because you're your own greatest enemy. But you also have to realize your own greatest ally. I think any step to make yourself the best ally you can be for yourself and also to yourself is a great boon in life. So that's what brought me to Cards to Stars.
I love it. Thank you so much for sharing. You're not the only caretaker in the audience, like sole caretaker. I've had a lot of clients who've mentioned that they're caretakers for family members and that the responsibility of it is just exhausting in a way that it doesn't leave room to live in other parts of their life. And
Absolutely.
so that plus being a job seeker and, just getting ghosted, as you mentioned, lends itself to really whittling away at one's confidence. And it's for these types of situations where you're ready to rebuild confidence that we've built cards and stars. So you could have totally skipped this opportunity. Like it sounds like you have a lot on your plate. And not only a lot on your plate, but financially, like if you're job seeking, this is most people would look and say, why would you even buy something? You don't have income. You could have skipped joining Cards and Stars. What was the reason you did it anyway?
Absolutely. So a few days before Cards and Stars was announced, I came upon an Instagram reel where someone said, opportunities come to pass, not to pause. So you grab them. I think it's a very profound statement, and that best encapsulates what I was feeling. So again, opportunities come to pass, not to pause. So you grab them.
Hmm, I love that. Um, yeah. And so when the opportunity comes, grabbing it is actually what opens up your life and keeps momentum moving.
Yeah.
I'll never forget my ex-fiance and I, when we first moved to a different city together. We had started off in one city and then we relocated to like two other cities together. In the second city that we lived in, we moved there right at the start of 2008, the economic downturn, like the global housing market collapse. Like 90 days before that collapse happened is when we arrived where we were living. And as you can imagine, once that collapse happened, it was in August when it really hit. And then from there, it was the holidays, like September, October, November. Like it was so difficult to find and sustain and create work. And one of the things I remember telling my partner at the time, because they would get just so depressed about it, is like, I know it's like not a lot out there, but it's so important that we just find a way to stay in the flow of contribution.
Mhm.
Where contribution is, cash follows. And
Mhm.
so, especially if you are the type of person who can bottle up, stop off opportunities, block them, get stuck, ruminate, procrastinate, just finding ways to be in spaces and places where movement is happening, connection is happening, and that you can make a difference for somebody else, one thing has to lead to another. It's like being a leaf in a stream. You flip over and float, and if this place isn't fertile, eventually you'll land in a place that is. And so we wanted Cards and Stars to be a place like that for all of you. I'm curious, Maxine, what was the scariest part or fear or concern you had to confront when it came to joining?
For me, it was meeting new people, which sounds very ironic because Kay says I'm the unofficial ultimate crew. But to be honest, I can trust that the environment feels very safe because ASO and Kay are the hosts. So, meeting new people, I feel like that fear for me it was very easy for me to overcome.
Amazing. Yeah. You've been so kind and warm and welcoming, and everyone in the group has. And that fear of meeting new people is so real, right? I'm really shy too. I only just did my first face reveal on this channel about a week back after like 7 or 8 years of just never showing my face. I truly like, I have Scorpio moon trust issues. Like, I don't trust anybody. If I trust you,
You,
it
Scorpio
is a
sun.
big deal. Because you like everyone with me, you can start from zero, but very quickly go to -5.
I totally get it. Believe me.
It doesn't take much. Okay, so you are in the community. What do you feel like it's like so far? What's your experience been of people as they've come in and said hello?
I think the energy within the community has been very beautiful, very open, and very light. It I can feel like there's a bit of nervousness, but I do think the excitement and the joy outshines that. And I think a very big part of that has to do that there's an inherent and there's a pre-existing trust between ASO and K along with the attendees. I think another very big thing is if you're looking for change, there is nothing better than to execute that change in a place that feels very safe. Be the change you want to be. I think that's the thing I want to say.
I love it. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me, Kay.
Oh my gosh, it was a gift to have you here and to have you as a member of Cards and Stars. I really appreciate it. I know you've got a jet. I
I
appreciate
do.
the time, and I can't wait to connect with you more when we start class.
Same here. Thank you, Kay.
Thank you. Take care. Bye for
Take
now.
care, everybody. Bye bye.
So if you'd like to join and kick it with Maxine and myself and all of the other beautiful people in Cards and Stars, here is the link. It is inside. It is the pinned comment. It'll be in the description box if you're listening to the recording. And there's the page, 222 USD or two payments of 144 USD. It's a really wonderful community that's building so far. Okay, so Now we will get to the portion of our time together that is Q&A. I'm going to stick around for roughly another 10, 15 minutes. If there are that many questions, I'm happy to answer them. You can ask questions about cards and stars. You can ask questions about me and ASO. You can ask questions about the astrology or anything that I have shared recently that you're curious about getting clarification on. And you can ask questions about Rosa's story. If you're in a similar inflection point, I'm happy to give you some coaching and guidance, maybe some prompts to help you think about what's the right next step for you. Drop your questions in the chat now. Okay, so let's see here. Our CP Beauty, thank you for being here. I see your question says, I'm very excited to take the class. Can we use any deck that has major arcanas in it? Absolutely. You absolutely can. For the sake of everyone who is an absolute beginner, we're going to ourselves be utilizing in the digital workbook and on our slides for each class the Rider-Waite Tarot. However, if the Rider-Waite just doesn't resonate or you have other ones that you like to use, you more than likely to pull from a different deck. Inside of Cards and Stars in the orientation, we provide links to where you can get a digital deck. If you don't want to spend money on a physical deck, you want to kind of keep all of this digitally and use it on your phone as an app, we provide info about that. You can also purchase a deck, and we provide 2 or 3 other alternatives about good decks for beginners if you're just starting out. But if you're not just starting out, have a deck you're very comfortable with, please feel free to utilize that. Okay. Really good question there, RCP Beauty. Thank you. I'm so excited you're joining. Excellent. Okay. Thank you, Hope, Love, and Sunshine. I appreciate the compliment. Okay. Alicia shares, she says, so true on that part. My emotions are already sensitive and sometimes easily influenced by readers, which creates a false truth, self-fulfilling prophecy. I'm so glad you could relate, Alicia. You're not the only one. I've been there. ASO has been there. We've talked about that ourselves and the importance of really keeping your intuitive space secluded and sacred and not just letting anyone into that space. And so in the Cards and Stars work, we are going to help you cultivate that sacredness through trust, repetition, and knowingness about what things mean when they show up. Okay. So Jesse and Trisha also say this is relatable. I can relate. Living Revived with Kate Cole. How you doing? Welcome. Great to have you here. Okay. Ella asks, if you are not a beginner in tarot or astrology, how would you say this class would benefit me? Beautiful question. So the thing that ASO and I are most juiced about, because neither of us are beginners, so we wanted to go beyond this just a little bit for our own entertainment. We have taken all of the 22 major arcana cards and their traditionally linked astrological correspondences, and we've updated them. And so when you see what we've done, you'll see that there is a correspondence guide that will clue you into, and we're teaching it every single class. Um, like let me go back to classes here. I'll show you based on the class schedule. Okay, so we do roughly 2 or 3 cards per week. The Fool, the Magician, the High Priestess is week 1. Each one of those has a traditional link to astrology. Some of them have a sign, some of them have a planet. What we've done is we've updated those linkages to be more relevant to current time and interpretive understanding of the cards in present time. And so, in this way, it gives you deeper insight about persons and situations. So, I'll just give you like a sneak peek. Hang on one second. Let me pull it up. so that I'm not misquoting myself. Ay, 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 because that's always the worst when we misquote ourselves. My gosh, we have so much information. We need to trim some. Oh, but I love it. ASO and I like love to give, we love to do the most, apparently. Okay. So traditionally in the tarot, if you look at tarot books, we do see that the magician is linked to the sign of Mercury. However, we have talked about this ad infinitum and have recognized that there's actually a different planetary correspondence that no one talks about. Not only are we going to give you that planetary correspondence, we're going to give you why that planetary correspondence, what that's going to mean in terms of when it shows up as a person, a situation, or an outcome, and how to work with that energy with the magician card when you're reading for yourself or other people. And that's going to fine tune how the major arcana information shows itself when it pops up in a read. So, I think the magician has one like that. So too, we have the fool as well. Yeah. Because there is the fool traditionally, uh, we see the full link to Uranus. And we talk about that here so that you know, like, okay, the full Uranus. But what we're actually going to do is give it a modern and updated planetary linkage because there is a planet that fits with the Fool's energy far better than Uranus. And in knowing that linkage, it'll help you understand deeper understanding about the Fool when he shows up. It'll also help you better understand the energy of that planet as it sits in your chart as an aspect of your own personality. Okay. We're also going to give you a bit more detail linking the tarot to your astrological chart in some really fun ways that we can't wait to share with you. We don't want to leak them all here. We don't want to tell all the secrets, but we have some fun activities that will be beneficial and insightful. I think for somebody who is already seasoned, that's going to be the part that's most interesting because it was the part that was most fun for us to put together. Okay. Beautiful question. Thank you for allowing me to answer that. I look forward to seeing you in there. Okay. RCP Beauty asks, I'm very excited to take the class. Oh, yeah, we answered that question already. Okay. Does anyone else have any questions about anything in Rosa's story or the 9 points, 9 ways readings can help and or hinder that I've shared? Does anybody have any commentary that you'd like to share with me? Happy to take comments or questions. Really looking forward to getting started with you guys. If not, then we're going to go ahead and close up in a moment. Just double check. Kylie asks, how are the October energies looking? Like a period of integration, to be honest, from the eclipses. As I looked at the new and the full moon in October, Kylie, what I saw was people really settling into a lot of their truth, both personally and in partnership or relationship. I think these eclipses revealed, and I'm going to talk about this when I release the next lunar update, which should be Monday, Tuesday. These eclipses revealed pathways that are no longer open for us to traverse. It showed us where things that we used to do, habits, patterns, behaviors, they're not going to work. And the subconscious or the behaviors, subconscious being Pisces, behaviors being Virgo. And so these eclipses fundamentally shifted our third dimensional realities, places, people, habits we used to run with. Like, we're going to find that you already have found that those doors are shut. That being said, it's the establishment of accepting some of those truths and moving into what you want to be true more. And I'm going to talk about that more in the Lightworker and Twin Flame lunar updates on Monday, Tuesday. So look out for that. Beautiful question, Kylie. Thank you for being here and for being a moderator today. Hope, Love, and Sunshine asks, can I go against the grain and ask questions that are not so positive? Yeah, I would love to help you out. If I can help you, I will. Ask whatever you need. I know this time has been intense for all of us collectively. It's been, there have been some things that have been triggering, brought up painful memories, confrontations and reckonings with painful patterns. All of this is, it's been a time, let's just say, especially for any of you that have Pisces, Virgo, Sagittarius, or Gemini placements, you will have found this to be more intense than some of the other people. If you're new, know that I do offer on those lunar updates and the Lightworker lunar updates which signs will feel these energies the most. Definitely hit the subscribe button and the notification bell. So that way, when I post, you'll be able to see it and be able to get that intel for yourself. Because for some people, they came through these eclipses smiling, sitting pretty, like promotion, engagement, like life moved forward in some really beautiful ways, which I love to see. There's definitely a lot of newness in my space as well, both personally and professionally, as a result of these eclipses, and relationship wise. So, I feel like, the intensity was meant to serve almost like resetting bone in the third dimension. But the resetting bone part is hard. It's not so positive. It doesn't always feel good. It's really physically uncomfortable. So, yeah, happy to answer any questions you have about that. Hope, love, and sunshine. Shells and cheese, welcome. Kathleen Raymond, hello. Um, yeah, it's such a wild time. I'm going to give it a minute for you, Hope, Love, and Sunshine, to share, and then, or to ask your question, and then we'll wrap up. Thank you all for being here with me on this Saturday. Those of you who were able to be live, I know that not everybody is, but hopefully those of you who catch the recording are also enjoying this as well. Shells and Cheese says, I feel like I have just walked through a hurricane, shaken but not destroyed. Maybe another one on the way. Yeah, that's a way to put it, Shells and Cheese. Absolutely. Um, you're not the only one. A lot of the readings, the one-on-one readings I've had with clients in the last 2 to 3 weeks have express similar sentiment where people are seeing upheavals and change and like tower moments in life unfolding, and some of them are good, some of good being relative, right? They're all neutral. It's how you frame it that makes it good or makes it bad. But yeah, that hurricane thing, that's real. I feel like the Pisces lunar eclipse, because Pisces does represent water and ocean specifically. Yeah, hurricane is an apt analogy. Hope, Love, and Sunshine shares. For me, yes, it has been intense. I'm finally ready to give up on this twinship journey. This Christmas will be 7 years since we met. I did about 90% of the initiating contact with small talk, etc. The question she goes on to ask is, at what point is enough enough, basically? I did the tarot watching, and this year I am done and not watching anymore. Even astrology, I'm losing interest. Yeah, the way I like to put it for those who identify in the divine connection, twin flame, soulmate, ascending collective, you're done when your heart is done. That's when you know. When your heart isn't broken and hurting, but is instead in a place of, oh, I wish them well. And it's just light and casual, and you don't feel longing or absence or in love anymore, that's when you're done. That's when you're done. That's how you know when your heart on its and it will on its own disconnect. And I remember providing a channeled message about that a couple years back that as this union window from 2023 opened up a passageway in the sign of Aries, that the access point to union between now and 2028 would be through union with self. I do remember channeling and hearing specifically that there are some people who will get unplugged from their connection and they'll feel it. It'll just be like there's no more power running through that cord. With that in mind, it's very different than choosing to walk away. One is a head-based decision, the other is a heart-based release. And the difference will be palpable for you. RCP Beauty, tell me how that lands for you. Hope, love, and sunshine. RCP Beauty says, thank you, Kay. Can't wait to connect with you guys in class. Likewise, really looking forward to having you there. And Memory of Sky, hello. Happy to see you. Thank you for joining. And Memory of Sky adds, regarding twinship stuff, just think equal give and take and give yourself the love you seek. Okay. Hope, Love, and Sunshine shares, I ran into him at a concert and he was with another girl and completely ignored me. I deliberately stood right next to him all night long, and honestly, it was very empowering for me to not run away. And there you go. I think that that's one of the things that people really miss, but I definitely share a lot of in the lunar updates for twin flames, that the empowering thing to do is going to be different for different people. For some people, it is about, like, picking up your toys and walking away. For other people, it will be about staying connected with strong boundaries. And still, for other people, it's going to be about extricating themselves from love triangles where it's like, I've got a twin and I've got a spouse. Oh, what do I do? Pick a path. That's what you do. Unless you just like Polly and then bring everybody to the party. And that's good too, right? So it's going to be different things for different people. Well, my loves, thank you all for being here with me for this conversation. I can't wait to see you all in Cards and Stars. I think it's going to be a super fun workshop where we have the opportunity to grow together, and you'll be learning a lot more about the major arcana and how to work with it in the world of your personal readings. And it'll also help you disconnect from readings in the ways that they can sometimes delay or hinder, and empower you to start reading for yourself so that readings can actually help. Thanks again for being here. I love you all so very much, and I'm so grateful we get to do this. And I'll see you at the next lunar update or in stars.